they said, look, Rod, we haven't been paid in 2 weeks. We've deferred a week till the end of the season. We want a field ball before the Sligo game. And then it came to a bit of a standoff. And then the next night I got a phone call off Jim saying, look, sorry to tell you this, in holidays, but I'm pulling the team out of the league.
Monaghan have said that all creditors will be paid in full, and I assume, Stephen, that
it's not
the
a money
players are
thing,
high up on that list.
It's not about the money.
But just from the players' point of view, Stephen, you know, for the players who've been playing with Monaghan United, to get news like this mid-season is dreadful.
Devastating. Obviously, the one plus is the transfer window opens and the FAI have allowed professional players to sign straight away. I just spoke to Roddy there earlier on. I think there's 5 or 6 who moved on 3 to Drogheda, and some moved out around the league. I think the disappointing thing for me speaking with the players on Wednesday was that the club never faced them up, Con. They never came in, sat them down around and said, this is what we're doing. And I think the players felt massively let down by the club. The players, as it stands now, are owed a month's wages. So the players done as much as they could. They were owed a month's wages. They never at any stage put the bullet to the club's head and said, we need to be paid right now, or otherwise we're not going to play. So I think the disappointing thing was that nobody from the club came and met them. The other thing that I find absolutely amazing is in every other issue we've ever had in this league, and we've had a number of them over the years, there will be discussions between the PFAI, the FAI and the club to sit down and see how can we fix this. Will the players take a pay cut? Is there a way that we can defer monies out or whatever? Nothing. On Monday morning, a tweet is sent out, which is, in my eyes, a disgraceful way to do any type of business, and players find out through that, including ourselves. Now, there's a lack of respect from the club, in my opinion, not to speak to the players, not to speak to us, and a minimum put on the table how we resolve this.
Is that the crux of this matter, that there was a lack of communication somewhere along the line?
Total lack of communication, and from speaking to the players afterwards, they were prepared to go on half of what they were on to see the season out, the ones that couldn't get close. But it's just like that. Like, I've experienced it in England twice, and the FA came in with the players' unit, was sorted out, and we continued to fulfil all the fixtures. Anyone that could leave. And you have expected this to happen again. But it was just
Having said that, I mean, the 3 of you all know Monaghan very well. You all know the people involved in the running of that club have been, you know, battling against difficult times, small crowds, you know, that maybe...
But this makes it more... We've had, as the players' union, we haven't had major issues with them over the years. It isn't like every year at the end of the season, yeah, we've had a couple of issues, nothing major. To suddenly just pile the league just has caused all on the hop, especially the players' union. And as I said, we would be more than happy to facilitate any way of deferring. As Roddy said, the players deferred 1 week. Right now they're owed 4 weeks' wages. Like, it just beggars belief. And I'd like to echo what Fran said. I'm very disappointed nobody from Monaghan here is to speak to the public and let us know why they've done it.
But I think, we do need to recognise that a lot of the clubs, people are doing a lot of work voluntary, and it is a huge, I suppose, on your time, a strain on your time, yes. And that's difficult in difficult times because you're constantly trying to get more money in and get some sponsorship. So we have to recognise the work that those people are doing, and we do recognise that Jim McGlone and his board of management did a huge amount of work for the club on a voluntary basis and have turned the club into a very good, well-structured development club there, and they have a good facility there, and we do wish them the best. They're not going out of football completely, and hopefully down the road that Monaghan will come back in.
So technically, are you still the manager? Sorry, I asked the question. Are you still the manager?
I'm effectively the manager of Monaghan United. I mean, I'm not getting paid. Now, I was training the lads tonight that's left over before they came on Saturday morning and 3 times last week, and we're going to organise some sort of a game to try and get them close. But like, I don't think that's right that you know, we're all dropped. I'm the manager of a non-existent team. I'm getting no income. But Monaghan and France just said that they can come back into football sometime down the road. That's a funny one.
What I'm saying is that you know, you want the club to develop. They do a lot of good work in a difficult area for them there. You know, and it's a huge, strong GAA, and they've worked there, and they've developed their schoolboy section and their youth section, and they've produced several players that have come through now, and they're on the underage international teams. You don't want that to stop. That's about developing the game, and Monaghan will continue to do that.
We've wrote to them on Friday. Listen, all the money's out to all the players. We're giving them 5 days notice to come back to us, otherwise we have to look at the legal aspect of things. And they said they paid all creditors, but the players want to know when they're going to get paid.
Yeah. The one issue that in Monaghan's statement that was issued earlier on to us today as well, they kind of say that they hope that if something positive is to come out of this, that maybe the debate about the structure of the league and where the league, the direction it's going in, might you know, come to the fore. Is there a question now about the structure of the league in terms of, you know, is it time to just have one division, or is that a wider debate for another day?
No, I think we look at the league all the time and look at what's best for the league, and every year we review it. But when you're planning a league, you've got to plan at least 2 or 3 years down the road, because you can't just have promotion one year and say, well, it's not going to happen now. So you've got to do that. So the plan is 3 or 4 years. At the moment we have 12 team. That's the way we started the league. It's down to 11 now. There'll be a play-out position at the end where the team will go, and then we look at the league next year. We'll have another 12 team league next year. But we take everything on board. We listen to what the clubs say. We have the National League Executive Committee who run the league. We'll take on what the clubs are saying at the moment, and then we respond to that.
Stephen, do you think are there too many teams in the country?
No, I think
too many teams in Dublin.
No, well, possibly, but I think what we've got to look at is a Premier Division with quality in it. Like, I don't think there's enough quality at this moment in time to come out of the First Division. Come up, the majority of the First Division are amateur. So I think we've probably got maybe 14 teams that could have a Premier Division, and maybe look at regionalising and then the rest. But there needs to be promotion and relegation, otherwise it's stagnant. So we would like to see, obviously, from our own end, to represent players. The Premier Division is the place to play. Everybody wants to play there. All the players want to play in the Premier. So a bigger Premier Division, I think that helps. But we have to have the quality content. I don't know why the quality's there right now.
We had it for 10 years, Steve. We had it for 10 years with professional clubs league for 10 years. We had a fantastic opportunity to develop the league, to develop the facilities, to develop academies. You know, never happened. Go back 30 years, you know, when I started in the league, more than 36 years ago, when I started in the league, we're not far off it. The standard of play is better, the quality of the players are better due to the fact they can get more daylight to train. But the structure, the facilities, the general, and I made this point before on a radio show, it just needs to be, you know, really someone really care and sort it out. Because
it comes down to pounds, shillings and pence though, doesn't it, Fran? I mean, I think even you'd admit that there are facilities in some of the grounds in the Premier Division that are substandard. You know, we see small crowds, and maybe part of the problem is that the facilities aren't up to what you would expect in a top professional league, but it all costs money.
Well, there's been an investment of over 30 million into the clubs and facilities over the last number of years, you know, and that's only by the sports capital grants that he would be involved with the league, you would get them, and also what the clubs put in addition to that. So we have seen a lot of improvement around the facilities. You've got Tala, you've got Waterford, you've got Clowntown, you've got Turner's Cross. There's a lot of good stuff happening around the league, and I think people need to not lose sight of that. There's a lot of positive things happening around the league. There's very good players. We looked at our players in the Euros, and many players came through the league. We look at Shamrock Rovers last year in the European competitions. So there's a lot of positive things happening around the league, and we don't just overnight become a bad league.
But the 4 grounds you mentioned, Fran, are all council-owned grounds. Are they owned by the council? I bar the Munster, football owns Cork. I mean, Athlone, is that a council ground? Waterford.
Well, it's not actually, Roddy. I'm not going to debate with Roddy about grounds and that, because of another issue that's been involved there. But I think we need to make it clear: Munster FA owned Turner's Cross, Athlone Town Stadium Company owned Athlone Town Stadium. Tala and Rovers is South Dublin County Council. So I mean, if you get the facts right,
Fran, I'm not. Fran, you're going on the offensive. Is it not a way to go to every council and try and amalgamate a club with a council and develop it that way?
Well, that's not a way to go. That's one of the models that's used in Europe, in some of the leagues, and some of the clubs are, but not every club does it. You know, and you've got to really do. And in the times we're in at the moment, you know, there's not a huge amount of willingness because budgets are tight everywhere to get that in. But ideally, it'd be nice to have a situation where you have the local council involved. It's worked well with Shamrock Rovers over the last while, but there's also Sligo have made huge improvements to the ground there. And I think we need to just stress that there's a huge amount of positivity around the league and going on. And the standard of play is terrific. The crowds are very good at the moment, and things are going not too bad. It's disappointing with Monaghan, but the league will be stronger and stronger, and we build it up with the cooperation of everybody. We can build a league into a league that we're all very proud of.
All right, guys, thanks a million. I have to say that I'm going to really miss going to Gertrude, and it was always a really welcoming ground to go to, and I think it's a real pity that it's come to this. But to Fran, to Stephen, thanks a million for coming to studio this evening. Roddy's going to stay.